Ceasefire between Israel and Iran might have stopped the firefight, but core concerns of the war are not over yet. That raises the question, will ceasefire between Israel and Iran last? Iran's Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Abdurrahim Mousavi, says he is not convinced that Israel would abide by the ceasefire. He also said Iran will respond to any attack by Israel with full force. Iran has also demanded the United Nations to recognize US and Israel as aggressors. Despite concerns over longevity, ceasefire between Iran and Israel is holding up for now. But how did it come about? And how did Israel and Iran retreat from their highly offensive positions? And a report has emerged that sheds light on why the United States may have asked Iran for a truce. Now, according to reports, 70% of the missiles used by Iran were older generation missiles, while its deadlier next generation missiles saw minimal use. The report states that Iran mostly used Kader or Imad missiles against Israel. Kader comes in 3 variants and has a range between 1,350 and 1,950 kilometers and carries a payload of 650 kilograms. The Imad ballistic missile is an upgraded variant of Kader and comes with enhanced guidance and accuracy. Commissioned in late 2015, the Imad missiles have a range of 1,700 kilometers and carry a payload of 750 kilograms. But even these older missiles demonstrated remarkable accuracy and penetrated Israeli air defenses, causing widespread damage and destruction across Israel. From the capital Tel Aviv to Haifa, Ramat Gan, and Beersheba. Even US President Donald Trump acknowledged the scale of destruction. Speaking at the NATO summit earlier this week, Trump said that Iran and Israel fought like hell and it was not easy to stop them.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easier to stop them.
This brings us to an interesting question. Why did Iran hold back its newer, more powerful and lethal missiles? Iranian missile arsenal consists of ballistic missiles like Sejil-2, Fatah-1 and Khaybar-Shekan, which have a range of up to 2,000 kilometers and carry payloads up to 700 kilograms. Reports suggest that Iran may actually be preparing for a long, protracted war with Israel and intends to gradually introduce its diverse missile arsenal. While it remains unclear whether the scale and scope of damage unleashed by Iranian missiles pushed the United States to seek a ceasefire, what is undisputed is that Iran managed to evade Israeli air defenses even with older first-generation missiles, and it may have far more lethal and newer-age missiles in its arsenal. Mr. Edward P. Joseph is now joining us from Montenegro. He is a lecturer at the Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced International Studies and foreign policy analyst. Is now joining us live. Mr. Joseph, good to see you and thank you very much for making time for us. Why do you think Iran is fearful of this truce? Because they say that Israel may breach the ceasefire. And why is this ceasefire fragile?
Eric, first, good to be with you and your viewers. And the ceasefire is fragile because, of course, these are 2 belligerents. These are 2 parties, Iran and Israel, that have enormous enmity and suspicion of each other. And so it's not surprising at all that they would be suspicious of each other. The reality is that the 12-day Israeli operation, in which the United States joined at that singular event when it struck these key nuclear weapons program sites, has left Iran in a tremendously weakened and vulnerable position. So Iran has lost all 3 components of its deterrence for the moment. What that is, the vast majority of its nuclear weapons program, although questions remain about the final extent of the damage, but it suffered severe damage, and even its foreign minister acknowledged that the nuclear program was severely damaged. in this campaign, this 12-day campaign. Second, the ballistic missile program that you cited and noted in your package is also significantly damaged, although, of course, Iran retains the assets that you noted, but still its capabilities and its stockpiles of missiles are significantly degraded. And finally, and for some time now, Iran has lost its proxies in the Middle East, among them, of course, Syria. And we saw here the proof and that Syria would not even join in the political condemnation that was basically a ritual of the neighboring states in most cases in the Middle East, which were not upset at all to see Iranian capabilities struck by Israel and the United States. But Syria did not even join in those rhetorical, nominal criticisms, underscoring the isolation that Iran and the weakness that Iran sees in this situation. And so, Eric, to make it very clear, Israel has made it clear it's not going to, after this campaign, largely successful, is not going to remain passive if Iran attempts to rebuild, reconstitute the nuclear weapons program, or exploit any capabilities that it still has, and that applies to the missile program as well. Please.
Mr. Joseph, very quickly, if at all Israel does breach this ceasefire, and again they're back to the war or to the battlefield again, both Iran and Israel, how hard will it be to control that war?
That's a great question, and one cannot say for sure exactly how Iran would react. But in this case, remember, Eric, this was always the case that people couldn't believe. While last year there were short exchanges between Iran and Israel, this was the first time you had this concerted effort by Israel, and the first time you had the United States strike Iran. So to answer your question, how will it go? Or it depends on how Iran sees its capacities. In this case, we saw Iran claim victory, which it needed to do to save face domestically, but in fact it remains very weak. And so if it takes measures, like for example closing the Straits of Hormuz, all those measures have a negative impact. Of course, there's always the outside chance of it constructing a crude or maybe even advanced nuclear weapon, and that would bring us, of course, into a completely different situation altogether. One imagines the United States and Israel, along with the IAEA and other states, are closely watching that. Please.
Mr. Joseph, we'll have to end it there. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
You're welcome.